Angela and Sally had been friends since high school and were in the same class. Angela was always the center of attention and everyone wanted to be friends with her. There was something attractive about her, it was probably her charisma. But of all the girls in her class, Angela became friends with Sally. The girls lived next door to each other as well, so they went to school together and always went for a walk after school. But as happy as Sally was about her friendship with Angela, deep down she was jealous of her friend. Everything was too easy for Angela. Sally had to sit through high school and go to tutors to get good grades. Angela, on the other hand, found studying very easy. She could recite the assignment once and remember everything, see a formula and immediately apply it. But it wasn't only in her studies that Angela excelled. All the boys were crazy about her and at school parties she was the center of attention, while Sally always remained her shadow. In spite of that, Angela was always a good friend. She helped Sally with her studies and told her how to behave around boys. After high school, the girls went to the same college and rented an apartment together. Eventually, Sally came to terms with the fact that Angela was better and smarter, but her jealousy continued to follow her through life. Sally tried to be as active as her best friend, but she couldn't hang out at a club half the night, then go home to sleep for a couple of hours, then go to college in the morning. Sally just couldn't handle that pace of life, because she didn't have enough energy for it. Despite the fact that Angela was extremely popular at university, she was not interested in easy or one-night stands. She was a decent girl. In her third year of college, Angela met Richard. He was a modest guy who beautifully courted Angela. He was different from many other men who tried to hit on Angela. Richard immediately showed his serious intentions, was kind and considerate. And Angela liked this very much. But Sally's relationship was not working out. The men thought she was boring and too proper. After graduation, Angela and Richard were married. Feelings of envy and injustice began to eat away at Sally even more. But the women remained best friends for many years. Sally knew that Angela had cheated on Richard more than once. Although Angela had tried to explain to her friend why, Sally still believed that Angela was unworthy of her husband because of this. Remaining the best friend of the family, the woman kept one secret. She was in love with her best friend's husband, and she remembered well the day she realized it. The three of them were going for a walk along the embankment. Sally and Richard were already waiting at the arranged place when Angela called and said she was late at work. For an hour Sally and Richard were walking alone along the embankment, and he was gentle and caring, asking Sally if she was cold, if she wanted to go to a cafe to get warm. No other guy had ever shown her so much concern. The woman could not understand why Angela was cheating on her husband and did not appreciate having such a wonderful man by her side. It was after that walk that Sally decided to divorce them. The woman thought it would help both her friend and Richard. At first she began to convince Angela that a divorce would be the best decision for her, that she would have a new lease on life. But Angela was firm. She said that she would never leave him, especially since she was ashamed in front of him for having a lover. That's when Sally realized that the only sure way to destroy Angela and Richard's marriage was to betray her best friend. Sally understood that after that her friend would stop communicating with her, but she also understood that she would finally find the happiness she had dreamed of. And one day she had a good opportunity. Angela had nowhere to meet her lover, and Sally offered her her apartment, saying that she was going away for the weekend. Naturally she wasn't going anywhere, and the day before she called Richard and asked him to help her with the furniture. He knew that Sally was renovating one of her rooms and agreed. Angela and her lover were supposed to arrive at Sally's apartment at 5, so she arranged with Richard for 6. At 6 o'clock Sally was already waiting for Richard at the house. When Richard entered the apartment and saw Angela with her lover, he just left without saying anything. But Sally heard a lot of terrible words in her address from her friend, which she herself thought she deserved. Of course, after that she and Angela stopped being friends. And Richard wouldn't answer her calls. Sally felt terrible, because she had lost not only her best friend, but the chance to be with the man she loved. One night after she had drunk heavily, Sally wrote him a letter and told him why she had done what she did. The next day, he called her and asked her to meet him. They walked and talked as if nothing had happened and laughed again, just like old times. Now Sally and Richard began to see each other more often, and after a few meetings he told her that he had divorced Angela after all. It turned out that Richard had known for a long time that his wife was cheating on him, but he loved her so much that he turned a blind eye to it. But what happened at Sally's apartment was the last straw. Soon communication with Richard went from friendly to romantic. He started staying overnight at Sally's, and 6 months later she became pregnant. Richard proposed to her and they got married. Sally was happy her dream had finally come true. 2 years had passed since then. And the hard truth was revealed to Sally. It turned out that Richard, with whom she had fallen in love, existed only in her dreams. Only now she understood what Angela had told her. He was certainly a good man, but as a man he was too boring even for such a grey mouse as Sally. And Sally was beginning to feel much more lonely than she had felt before her marriage. Now she realized that she did not love Richard at all, and perhaps she had simply invented that love for herself. Now her only pleasure was her son. Sally often thought of Angela and missed her friend's presence in her life. One day they met. Over a cup of coffee, Angela said that she didn't resent Sally because she had let go of the past, especially since she had really started to live her life in a new way. Angela said that she had a man who wasn't boring, but that she didn't want to get married in a hurry. After a moment of silence, Angela added that she didn't want to see Sally as a friend anymore because she had been betrayed by her. Time cannot be turned back, and now Sally's memory will always be filled with regret for her meanness.